Good morning to you, Hoden. How you doing? Oop, I'm hearing an echo. Let me fix that. There we go. Happy spring weekend, everybody. Hope everyone's at least enjoying what hopefully is a day off for most of you. I know some people work weekends, so hopefully you get a chance to enjoy a little bit of slow time today. As usual, still getting a couple things set up, so give me just a sec. Goal for today, mostly just try to make some Blender levels, something simple. Don't know how long I'll stream today. There's a few things going on today, like this afternoon and this evening, but it's been so long since I did an afternoon stream during the weekend that I just kind of wanted to do it regardless. But we'll see. Likely between 1 to 2 hours. I know it's not quite the 4 hours I was hoping to do on the weekends, but it's something, it's something. Also, the music today is new. Lo-Fi Girl dropped a playlist specifically for spring time. I think that happened yesterday. So, new stuff finally for us to listen to. Oh. Not much to do in Unreal Engine right now, except maybe... where's my content browser? Why is it like that? These. Let's pop into the test progress level. That way when we start implementing the models and stuff, we can throw it in here to test it out. Also, you know what? It might be a good idea to figure out how I want to structure the folders. I don't think I'll do the rearranging right now, but figuring out how I want this to be done is probably not a bad idea. I could have like a subfolder for textures and then another one for the meshes and then for the materials, but I think it might be a good idea to keep everything related together. Let's kind of reuse this. What I'm thinking is we have like the probably just like the meshes folder. Also turn the size down. And then underneath that have like each folder has its own mesh. So like this would be wall, then like floor. Actually, it might even be better to have more subfolders. So like architecture, then props. And like maybe NPCs, like the animals and the players. And then like an architecture, same thing, have like walls. And then have their own subfolders. And then inside there, have like the actual mesh, so the FBX. And then the material also. But then when it comes to the textures, have like more subfolders. So we can have a low poly, a medium poly, and a high poly. That way I can just keep track of them separately, because they'll have mostly the same name. And I would likely have like 8K texture, 4K texture, 2K texture. I should give up on keeping everything organized. It is kind of a mess right now, but I feel like 8K texture, yeah, that's an option that Substance Painter gives you, and I would really only have that to do like the pre-rendered background screenshot, because I could probably render like an individual scene that's static with an 8K texture, and then just have it take the screenshot so that we use that as the static background screenshot for when that's implemented. So that all the models inside that pre-rendered background are using the 8K. I wouldn't really expect people to play with it, like live rendered, but maybe give the option since I'll have the textures anyway. And I don't know, like things are already like halfway organized. I feel like if I continue to try to expand building levels and scenes and files with the mess that it is now, it's just going to get exponentially worse. I can navigate it okay right now because there isn't too much. But anyway, that's something for me to do offline. I feel like for folder organization really isn't a on-stream thing. Does kind of fit the vibe of spring cleaning though. So give me just a sec, I'll put us back in backdrop as I start Blender. There we go. Hey, username, it's going pretty good. How about you? I'm curious, did you post any more art since last time? I don't think so. No. Hope your stuff is going good. So, let's start by taking a dive into the, didn't mean to close that. We're gonna close this Unreal Engine project, and we're gonna open the one that I did for Halloween, so that we can try to learn from my mistakes in that with how I did the wall textures and whatnot. No worries, man. Enjoy your spring weekend. Hopefully weather's all nice wherever you're at. I'm waiting for Unreal Engine to boot up the other one. It keeps opening up Steam VR. I think, Hoden, you told me how to turn that off last time, and I just didn't do that. Disable the plugin within the editor. Edit plugin Steam VR or VR. Uncheck the enabled checkbox. I'm gonna see the new Mario movie tomorrow. Ooh, nice. I'm gonna be trying to go see it today. So let's see, edit plugins, and you guys can't see this. Let me do this for you. VR. Steam VR. There we go. I don't need to restart it because there's not too much of a point. Let's go ahead and hop over into Unlit. So a couple of issues I ran into last time. Unreal Engine 4, yeah, I know. I would still at some point like to finish this so that it's not in the half-baked state. because I'm pretty happy with a lot of the models I made, and I liked a lot of my initial gameplay designs. I just didn't have the time to implement them before I wanted to drop something for Halloween. So a lot of the issues that I had with this one, first of all, were that you can tell these aren't uniform shapes. So the doors were on, like, imperfect places of a grid. But because of the way that I've designed this new map system, that's already been fixed. So if we jump into Unreal Engine, or not Unreal Engine, Blender, the way that this is going to work is that doors can really only be on this space here, or if it's a double door, maybe one of these two. But the point being is that it's never going to be in between the two, because during the procedural generation stuff, it's going to look at this as a single XY coordinate as to where the door is. So let's go for a smaller room here. Like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And so in this case, when it's trying to load this room in, it's going to say, okay, the door is at 9, 3. Technically 8, 2, because it's 0 index. This is 0, 0. And that's how it's able to know where doors are, so it can link rooms together procedurally. So, the reason why that's good is when I'm making a wall texture, I only really need to make sure that, because this door doesn't take up this full grid cell, it probably takes up half of it. I just need to, let's go ahead and do this. I just need to make a wall variant. Let's do this. That has this shape cut out into it. And so I'd really only need those two. One would be for a full wall, like this. The other one would be a variant like this with this cut out into it. And realistically, I can do this in Unreal Engine 5. I don't even have to do it in Blender. It might be better to do it in Blender, but I don't know how that's going to affect, like, the UVs and the texture assignments. Not that I wouldn't be able to work around that, but it might just be quicker if Unreal Engine does it automatically. Let me pull up the reference we're going to use today, which is from Resident Evil 2. If I still have it. And I'll probably just open this in GIMP. Here we go. Can I copy this image? And then open GIMP and then paste. Awesome, that worked. Sweet. So not the best resolution, but there's a bit of a concrete thing here. This should be easy enough to do, but we really don't need to model anything there. Pipes and then, like, this corner wall, because I don't think sharp edges would look as good. And then also, like, this kind of curved ceiling here. So a lot of this today, I think, is just going to be texturing, if we can at least, like, get a wall made. Maybe make some pipes. But I feel like the pipes don't have to be part of the wall, and then I can just, like, keep that as a separate prop. How big is this? Okay. Make this even smaller. I'm really trying to figure out, like, what is this supposed to be? And I don't need to make it exact, because I'm not exactly trying to copy it, but having something like that to kind of break up the monotony of just a single wall is not a bad idea. I just don't know if that would make sense to be like a pillar or... those don't look like pipes. Let me quickly pop open more images and see if I can find something similar. Found a couple things. Oh, that's a low-res image. I'm thinking kind of like a pillar, maybe? Like just an extrusion of the wall. I think that's the way concrete is poured. It's not poured into a single sheet. It's made in a bunch of rectangles, made with metal molds, basically. So that's just a metal beam in the wall. Oh, okay, that would make sense. So it's not even necessarily like supporting the ceiling. It's more so just keeping the panels in place. I see. That might make sense. Because the other thing I was thinking of, which is like here, it's just kind of the same wall, but it extrudes a little bit. But I like what you're saying more, that it's more so just kind of something meant to hold it in place. And then it looks like it kind of connects. This also looks like kind of a metal framework of some kind. And they connect. So let's cook on that a little bit. I think the first thing to figure out is how often should, or like how big should this initial wall section be? Because it's just going to be kind of copy paste repeated throughout like this entire section. And then I could add some variants either with decals in the game, like in the engine, or he's a bit small still. Maybe every 2. I'm trying to see if that feels too big. Well, you don't have to go all the way up to the top, but like one wall panel would be this. And I would make it cover all 4 of these, but then I can just have the actual ceiling piece as lower a size I want. And then if it overlaps it a little bit, that's fine, because the player is not going to see it. So let's do that. So the way that I'm going to do this is these flat pieces here aren't the actual wall themselves. That's more so the boundary that I've given myself. Oh, shoot, you're right. So I'll go back and I pop this preview out. I can. Okay. I now have just a preview of my stream on one of the other screens, so it's a little bit easier for me to notice when I'm not. Maybe I should have done that a while ago, because this is a reoccurring issue. Hey, Basti, good morning. Don't know how long I'll be live today, so take it easy. Enjoy your spring weekend with your friends. So what I was saying is, like, have these 4 wall panels be the shape of the single wall panel, and then maybe also just to like in the event where I have a hallway that's an odd number of panels here, Or maybe I'm trying to figure out good, consistent words to use. We'll call these little squares here like grids, like a grid cell. And then the panels are like the 2x2. So in the case where I have like an odd length grid sized room, the 2x2 would kind of overlap a bit. So I would want to do one that's just the basic 2x2 panel, and then a single probably just like 2x1. Every 5 panels should have a support pillar. You think so? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So like the length of this, you think? Rather than every 2? Hey, OMS. Oh, like an actual pillar and not the mold section. Oh, I see. So I have 2 different, like, variations on the wall. So rather than having a flat wall... Oops, I don't have my mouse. Rather than having a flat wall, it's the metal pieces that fit the molds together, and then an actual support pillar for the ceiling. Okay, I like that. Every 5, though. So let's think about that. If we did every 5, maybe 6 so you can fit in 3 molds? Yeah, that's what I was going to draw out here. If we did like... So let's say these are 2 of just the support molds. If we had it offset, then it would be like... Every so often there's a big support pillar in the middle of it. Rather than like it's mold and then big support pillar. So like to that end, you saying make it 5 could still work. And then it's just surrounded by the mold supports on either side. I can't see, you guys can't see this again. It looks good. I don't know if I'll see it in theater, but it looks good. Man, even having the thing up on the second monitor, I still... I can't... What's wrong with me today? How did I mute myself? What's my mute hotkey? I muted myself again. What's my mute hotkey? Hold on, let me figure this out. I don't know that I have one. I'll have to figure that out at some point. Is it Control Z? Is it just Z? I don't know what my hotkey is for muting. Great, more things to make sure I'm not messing up on. Whoops. I don't know if this ever made it in, but responding to your question, OMS, it looks good. I don't know if I'll see it in theaters, but definitely watch it on YouTube. Okay, so what I was saying is if I have the pillar the same frequency just offset from the mold supports, then it would look like this, right? To where every so often one of the molds would be a pillar instead. As opposed to having it offset to where it appears in the middle of two of them at some point. Which I kind of like this one more. But we'll see. Maybe it's probably a good idea to keep them separate. And so we'll make the wall, and then we'll separately make the supports. S and bot. No, I don't. I don't know what that is. What is that? Oh, Sandbox. Oh, it's like a Gmod thing? Open source video game development platform and engine by Facepunch. It's built using a heavily modified Source 2 engine. That's cool. Yeah, the more engines out there, the better. Bot alert, yeah. That's like the only way to use Source 2. What games used Source 2? Is that what Half-Life Alyx was built on? Every Valve game? I thought Valve used Source for like Half-Life 1 and stuff. The question is more so like, when did they go from Source to Source 2? Like, what game? Every new game. As far as I know, the last game Valve made was Portal 2. I mentioned this a little while ago, but these little grid cells here aren't the actual walls. It's more so just the boundary that I have for making a wall. So what I'll do is I'll copy this, kind of bring this out a little bit to, Actually, it might be a good idea to do this. That. Select these. Join them together. And then, what do their UVs look like? Do they even have some? No, they don't. Well, first, let's go back to just editing mode. Isolate it. Let's go to cleanup. Merge by distance to get rid of some of the duplicate vertices. I don't know if it makes too much sense to have it split up like this. We might even just dissolve these edges. That way we just have one plane. UV editing. Oh, come on. Smart UV. Unwrap. That should, yeah, that was basic. I think like CS2 in the 1VR game. Oh, I see. Okay, so let's start. I'm gonna temporarily start saving these objects in the correct place. Realm of depths, content. Probably still just level prototyping for now. We have the meshes folder. I'm gonna make a new folder. Actually, let me do this in a place where you guys can see. Oh, you guys cannot. Alright, that's fine. New folder. Call this architecture. I have caps lock on. Architecture. You can at least see me typing the words. And then we'll have a new folder called walls. And then I'll have even a new subfolder called lab walls. And then I'll have even another subfolder called variant 1. And this is where I will save this mesh here. I'm going to export as FBX. I remember there's like an ideal way to export things, and I forgot what it is. So selected objects only. Just the mesh. And it doesn't let you, you guys can't see what I'm doing here, but that's not too big of an issue. Geometry, face. Can you save your export settings somehow? Operator preset. Oh, yep, here we go. Unreal Engine mesh. Export. All right, now that we did that. Oh, I forgot that it's better for me not to minimize stuff for OBS's sake, or rather just to change what the focus is. Couple other things we could learn here. So last time, the textures didn't repeat super well. If we go to lit, like there are these very obvious seams, which I think username, your idea of having like the molds happen where the panels are set up. So where these, where the textures would not tile correctly, is gonna hide that, which I think is good. So I think that'll solve that problem. This was the door issue I was talking about before, to where it's like there were times where I had to like stretch the material in a way that it didn't really make sense to, just to get it to fill out the space I needed it to. But by making everything uniform and grid-like, I don't think I'll run into that problem here. One thing I did do last time, which we'll probably redo, is the pillars were a separate object, and we just kind of happened to place them. Oh. Oh, that's fine. I'm gonna close this. I'm gonna send you guys back to the backdrop, because I remember that there was an update to Substance Painter that made it run like shit. So I don't know if that was ever fixed. Or if we're just gonna be in the thick of it again. Okay. I'm trying to see if there's like anything I can close that I don't need. That would be eating up RAM and stuff. We seem to be okay. I guess fingers crossed. Okay. Did I add? I did. There we go. So I go to File. I'm going to... I think I do New. And then I select... You guys can't see this. But I select my FBX here. Hit OK. And there it is. And then this is just the view of the unwrapped UV. Okay, let's figure out what kind of wall we want to go with here. It's gonna be this one. So, kind of concrete, and it looks like there's a little bit of a pattern going alongside of it. And it looks like after that pattern, even the wall texture changes a little bit, like it's a bit darker. Although here it looks the same, so it might just be like... No, those are probably the same. I think I might try to make it to where it's a little bit lighter on the bottom, a little bit darker on top. Let's go ahead and do that. Let's go for like a concrete. We've got a couple... Let's see how this looks. It's more like a asphalt. That's not too bad. I might color that up a bit more. This one isn't too bad either. If I made it darker. There seems to be a lot less ads now. That's good. It's like a bullet hole. Okay. Okay. Any opinions on how we feel about these? I can also like change just the overall base color. Like I was thinking maybe make this a bit darker. No, I don't have an opinion, sorry. Fair enough. And if I were to use this one, I'd probably make it a little bit darker too. I do kind of vibe with this one more, as opposed to this one. It looks like concrete to me. Okay. I like this one. I'm going to delete this. Let's add some stuff. Not any filters just yet. Like a decal. Not quite. Would it be under alphas? I'm still not super familiar with a lot of the Substance Painter stuff. I probably should take like a beginner level course on YouTube. Is there a way I can get this to repeat? And like stretch it? Like how do I modify this? That's how I move it. How do I rotate it? Oh! Aha! Can I set a value for the rotation I'm doing? Oh, there it goes. I like that. How about the scale? Tiling. It's also not perfectly level. Also not the biggest fan of the color, but we can change that here in a bit. Why is the rotation kind of cooked? Actually, it doesn't look too bad. Okay. I want to make it like that a little bit. I don't know if it'll let me change the color because I did it as an alpha or a mask instead of like a... So let's toy around with that real quick. Do base color. That doesn't look right. I don't know what you're trying to do, but I hate it. Just add like a line of paint. And then change the color. Yeah, the left side is what we're looking at on the, would be like its 3D interpretation. So like when we load it into the level, this is how it's assigned. It's also a little bit crooked. How do I fix that? Oh, here's the base color. Okay. Let's go back to seeing, like, how do I modify its transform? So like here the transfer to, oh, I see. There it is. Okay. Now to make this bottom part a little bit lighter, probably also want to do paint. Let's see how cursed this looks. How about this one? Yeah, let's do this. And let's just stretch it. This is lower. A pop of orangish yellow is a good touch to concrete too. Like the hazardous horizontal stripes and stuff. That could be good. Although I'm trying to think, like, would it make sense at this part? Because there's not really a lot of hazards at this part. Definitely have variance though. Let's see how yellowy orangey looks. Definitely not with like the bluish color I already have going on up at the top. What color complements blue? That doesn't look too bad. What do we think? Red, apparently? Alright, let me save this color and then let's try red. According to the color theories. Loki don't like the blue purple. How about this blue, like, brownish red? And when I say blue, I'm talking about this, because it's like a faded to white color type blue. And the reason I went with blue is because at this point in the level, it's like an Arctic research base that's underground. So kind of like cooler colors makes a bit more sense. But I'm not setting that in stone if something else looks better. You think the blue should be more blue? Let's try that. Try making a darker blue. Here, let's throw this back in. Like that? That's 100% purple, not blue. That's blue adjacent. How that? More like this, okay. Now we can also add some aged effects to it. Dark blue on the bottom and light on top? It's just your opinion? I do think this is an improvement from what I have before, though. So I agree with you on that. Okay, let's see how it looks if we swap the color. How do you think that feels? I do feel dark should be on top, because I feel like the darker color acts more like a barrier. And it's kind of just saying, like, this is the hard stop of, like, this part of the wall. Let's add some effects on it, because right now it does seem kind of plain. But I think that's because it looks a little too clean, even with the roughness of the, concrete. So let's go ahead and see, like, what kind of cracks and what other effects that we can do here. Stains and scratches. Some of these here. I think what we have to do first is we have to apply, if we go to texture settings, bake mesh maps, and then I think we bake selected textures. That's when this starts to apply things correctly. There we go. Don't know how I feel about the scratches. We can also, like, fine-tune these a bit more. So, like, I can change the color of this. I can change, like, the frequency. I think. Where's my... Oh, here we go. The mask editor. That's not it. Overall, I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of the scratches here. Let's try something else. Paint doesn't really look good. This is for edges. Scratches, subtle scratches. Let's just not do that. Dirt. Not really any kind of dirt or dust. But what environment are these walls again? I'll pull up the example image again. Underground, like, research station. So kind of like this. Oh, I can remove the green circle. But specifically in, like, the Arctic, Although, because that was why I was going with kind of the more cooler theming. But that's not super set in stone with the vibe. If something else fits better. Let's see. The idea is that it's worn down a bit, but not like a lot. This is still a place that's, you know, relatively maintained. Can I increase the size of these gizmos? I can't. Or at least not with control scroll. A lot of dust, a lot of rust. Yeah, I saw the word damage there. That didn't really do anything. Moisture, oxidization. Rust drips. Let's see. Where do I change the color, though? Like, that's the thing. Oh, here it is. Because I was thinking, well, if there's metal above it, the rust might, like, fall down onto it. I don't know how I feel about that. We'll hide it and kind of keep it in our back pocket. Spots. I don't know if that's really doing too much. Problem with big things like this is, rust, as you can see that it's repeating. Yeah. That's why I think, like, subtle versions of it, or even, like, have decals in engine, that way they don't repeat. Also, we're at a point where Substance Painter is eating a lot of my RAM, or at least it's eating a lot of processing power, so it's making it kind of tough. So sorry if the video buffers a bit. Let's try, like, some scratches. Like, something that's subtle enough. To where you won't notice it repeating super easily. I was hoping for, like, some broken concrete, which I've seen people do in the past, but I guess it's just not with these smart masks. Let's try this. We'll just throw this base into the engine, and we'll see how it looks. So I'm going to, well, first let me save this. And I'm going to save this in the same location that I am saving the object files. Yeah, I'll close the, I'll close Substance Painter in a sec. No, it's my internet. It's not even my internet. It's Substance Painter is eating all of my computer's processing power, which is great because I've got a 5080, so it didn't do this before whatever update they added. Lab wall var 1 underscore sp is what I'll save it as. And file, I'm going to export textures. Output directory 2K. You don't need a missive. Export. Okay. We should hopefully have a little bit of juice back. Let me open up the project. Okay, so first it's asking me to import the mesh. I also just want to make sure that I'm not importing any material, so do not create new materials. Do not import textures, because I don't have any. And I think that's what I want. So import all files with these same settings. Yeah. Let me also change my default level to the, oh, our music is gone. Been streaming for an hour at this point, okay. Let me change my default level. That if we have to close the project again, we don't have to do this. Map. Editor startup should be test progress. And then we'll just navigate to test progress manually. Okay. Level prototyping. Let me see if I can grab a... Here they are. Let me grab a parent material, and I need to remember where I have a good one. Wall? Yeah, here we go. And who is your parent? This one. Create material instance. Material, so MMS surf instance. I don't know what the MS means. Material standard, maybe? Let's do this. Lab wall V1. And then we're going to move this to... Oh, shoot. Is there an easy way to just do a move? Asset actions? Asset localization. Rename, duplicate. I just need a separate content drawer. And then I'll just like... So I was gonna try to open it up here on the left and then just drag it. There's like a 30-second difference between YouTube and Twitch. Yeah, it's because YouTube, when things break, I'm guessing Twitch is faster right now. They just stay broken until the end of the stream. Twitch fixes itself. Or the other way around. But I'm pretty sure Twitch is the better of the two. Yeah, that's what I thought. Alright, here's what I'll do. Is I will click and drag it from here to here. Yeah, it doesn't even open it. There has to be an easier way to do this. If someone knows, please tell me. Otherwise, I'll just look it up on my own at some point. Okay. So now if we go back here, open this up, I'll have to apply it. It's easier to do this with multiple windows rather than different tabs, but you guys just can't see when I have the multiple windows stuff going on. Now it's applied. This will also give me a good sense of scaling to that Blender didn't give me. Oh, is that like perfectly on the ground? Oh, it was. Nice. It definitely looks more shiny than I... What was that? It's more shiny than I wanted it to be. So here's what we'll do. We'll have one in the red light, and then we'll have some where the standard lights are gonna be. Go unlit as we do this. How do I... There's a way to snap. Oh, that's perfect. Okay. I'm guessing that's 500 then? Not 500. Also, is that not perfect? Is that overlapping a little bit? No, it's not. Okay. It's definitely a little shiny. And here is where we can see very obviously that it loops. It's honestly, though, not as bad as I thought it would be. Like, if I cleaned up the paint line, I think it would be serviceable. But either way, I think we're fine just having the support in there. I think UI's content browser is just super bad. Yeah, like, I'm sure there's a way to do it better, but, like, the way to do it that's intuitive is with the content browser, and that just isn't that good. So we can go here now, and I think we can change the roughness. So it's a little less shiny. I'm guessing ORM is supposed to be where the... Okay, yeah, Occlusion Roughness Metallic. Make it a bit more rough, because the shininess comes from the roughness. That's pretty good shine. I think so too. Muted? No. Looks like a wall. Thank you. Never mind, not muted. Yeah, I just wasn't talking. It does look a little bit flat, and I think it's super apparent here, because we're not getting as many of the reflections looking at it from this angle. But I think the flatness isn't because of the wall itself. I think the wall is fine. It just looks flat because it's flat, and I haven't added like the pipes or the damage decals to it. But I don't think I would get too much of an improvement if I tried adding... Yeah, there isn't stuff yet, that's all. Exactly. I feel like, Hoden, you're right, that if I were to try to add, like, the filtered effects, like the rust, then it would be a lot more apparent. It would look a lot more artificial. So I think this is going to be better not doing that. Hey, good morning, Nibble. Good to see you. YouTube, there was an issue with Substance Painter earlier, which kind of broke the YouTube stream. So there's like a 30-second delay on YouTube. Twitch is a bit better. But good morning. Okay, let's export the different qualities. So the 8K and the 1K. And then we'll kind of compare it. We did this last time. 8K, it looked nicer when you looked super close, but it really wasn't enough of a difference to be worth it. And the 1K, I think, actually looked pretty good. But I feel like the 2K was like a good balance. So let me throw y'all back here as I open up Substance Painter again. When I try to do this, there's a good chance YouTube, your side, might get hit again. So I'm sorry about that. I have to find where I kept it. Level prototyping, meshes, architecture, walls, lab walls, variant 1. Oh, you can't just double click on the SPP file and expect it to open. Cool. There's a cyclone? Oh no. Stay safe. Do you guys have basements? Okay. Bump this up to... Oh, it doesn't have 8K. It looks like 4K is the max. I could have sworn we did 8K at some point. Wait, let's see what 128 looks like. I'm kind of curious what 128 would look like in engine. But let's go ahead and export a couple of different ones. Export textures. How do I change? I gotta figure out how to rename these. Base color. Hold on, I think I found it. Base color underscore 4K. Export. So now I go back. Also, I realize I saved that to the wrong location. I saved that to 2K. Should be in a new folder called... We need a 4K folder. We need a 1K folder. This one will go in the 1K. And yeah, I know you guys can't see this part. But it's just me navigating through files. It's going through the export menu, which is pretty much bare bones. Well, Google Anti-Gravity is? No, haven't heard of that before, no. What is it? Okay, and now we're gonna make a 500. New folder 500. Actually, let's call it the right thing. Let's call it 512. Basically Visual Studio Code, but with AI, and it does everything. You don't even need to copy paste it or anything. That's interesting. I think there's a VS Code plugin that does that too, with Anthropic's Claude. 256. I'm just making a bunch of exports, and then we're gonna cycle between them in engine, and we're gonna see what looks best. And then 128. Okay, and then I'm gonna check to make sure. I don't know exactly if it exported all of that correctly. Doesn't seem like me changing the name actually changed the name of the export, which is awesome. So I've got to do 4K and 2K again, because that just overrid it. So 2K, export texture, change it to here, select folder. And then do a 4K one. Okay. That should hopefully be all we need. We can discard the changes. Go back to Unreal Engine. Tell that we do want to import all of these. So the 2K was the one that we had before. This is unchanged. Now we also have... Let's see how the 1K looks. And I'm going to move this window. No, we have wooden shacks that we live in. No basements. My whole country is getting smashed. Oh. Well, look. I live in the 3rd floor of an apartment building. So I'd be absolutely cooked. At least you are on the ground. I think I could change the default state of this, right? Point A? No, I don't know if I gave that the ability. Let's just do this. Do this temporarily. Actually, we don't need to do that. We can just do this. Just so we don't need to grab the key each time. Okay. And now we're going to load. Let's start with the lowest texture quality. And see how that looks. See, I think the part about this that's odd is that it's still doing, like, reflections on it, even though the texture quality is so low. Like, this might look better if we threw the Unreal Engine settings to just low. Or at least the lighting. Oh, is there no lighting section? Global illumination. That didn't count. Okay, let's just change all of it to low. Okay, even on its lowest settings, it still tries to do the reflections, which I didn't know it would do that. Okay, well, let's put the scalability back to high. And let's change this from the 128. Let's do the 512, kind of the middle of the road there. Because the one that we looked at first was the 2K. Cyclone's a tornado, isn't it? The 512 doesn't look too bad. I don't think it makes a substantial difference in, like, performance. I think it's just file size. But especially on stream, and here, let's go full screen. Full screen, you can kind of tell a little bit better, or a little bit more. But if we jump to the 4K texture, I feel like that much of a jump will be a lot more obvious. Like, especially with the lighting there, you can kind of see, like, the tiny shadows on the cracks there of the wall that we weren't able to see last time. Basically, oh, wait, that was, I already read that one. I read something about an incoming ad break on Twitch. I'm actually going to postpone that. Because I'll be wrapping up here probably shortly. I think we did a good amount, like, we did the texture work. Didn't really get to do, like, the wall, like, pillar and the mold holder. I don't know. I need to figure out, like, what the appropriate name for that would be. But we at least got this figured out. And looking pretty good. So decals and the rest of, like, making the pipes, that's definitely going to be Blender. Making the ceiling and then just the structural parts of it, so like the pillars and whatnot. No, it's no big storm, so flooding, slips, high winds, but not like a tornado. Trees will come down, but not houses. Oh, what? I thought cyclone means, you know... You're talking about a hurricane? Cyclone is a large-scale system of rotating winds, heavy rain, and low pressure that forms over warm ocean waters, known as hurricanes in the Atlantic or typhoons in the Pacific. Oh. Yeah, hurricanes are intense. Stay safe, stay inside, but I'm sure you don't need someone who didn't even know what a cyclone is telling you that. Okay. I'll probably keep working on this a little bit more later today, and then if you're in the Discord, post some updates. Because if we go back to Blender, take a look at kind of what I need to build. A lot of those walls I can use here for this part. Even likely for some of this, I might just need to make something that extends a bit taller on top of this that looks natural. Maybe even make a new like paint line type thing to where you guys can't see this. Kind of like what we did here, but have that be the bottom of it, so that way it doesn't look like it's repeating or it's not tiling weird, but it's a separate section that just kind of elevates a bit higher. That's probably what I will at least try first for this extended part. But a lot of those walls we're going to reuse for this section. And then the ceiling arches are probably going to be the same for the hallways. The bigger rooms, I might need to come up with something different. And then the floors are going to be easy. I might even be able to reuse some of the floors that I made in the past, because that's pretty basic. After that, I want to see what I can do with decals in Unreal Engine, see if I can get like cracks and stuff on there. I might take a look at, I think Halbot Studios is the one that does a lot of good Unreal Engine artwork and environment design videos, so I might watch some of his more recent stuff. But okay. I do think I'm going to call it there. I'll figure out when the next stream it is likely going to be this coming Monday, 7 PT. So for those of you who are able to make them weekday streams, that's likely what I'll be doing. And I think that's all I got. So good morning to each and every one of you. It's now the afternoon, actually, for most of you. And then enjoy your weekend. Hopefully it's nice and sunny. If it's not, maybe tomorrow will be. But enjoy your spring. Okay, bye.